Hello, this is Peter, Kenshin1913, along with
Mom.
And this is another Cooking with Kenshin1913. What are we making today?
We're making little meatloaves.
The mini meatloaves. Alright, this recipe is similar to the one that Rachel Ray does, but ours is different. And you'll see why.
Okay, so the first thing you need is some chopped meat. Then I use parsley, ground pepper. You can use a little bit of red pepper if you want to, so that it's a little spicier. Onion.
Chop them. You already chopped that right.
Cheese.
Pecorino
eggs,
Romano.
and breadcrumbs.
Breadcrumbs. Also, we'll be using for our gravy. This is why it's a little different too. Beef broth. Now, some people, we can start, Ma. Some people actually use the meatloaf mix, which is pretty much ground up
beef, pork, and I think veal.
But we're just using the regular old beef.
So what I'm going to do, this is basically our meatloaf recipe, which
from earlier
is already on
the
internet, and we just make it the actual meatloafs in the smaller
fashion.
What are you
doing, cutting it up for?
Well, I like it a little smaller.
Come on, I did this off. You're screwing me over, aren't you? Anyways, I already chopped up the onions, but apparently it's not chopped up enough. So what we're going to do is just add the onions. We'll be right back.
Okay, so we have our onions in here.
Yeah.
And remember, I know it's hard because I just judge by jumping in, but probably, I don't know, a couple of tablespoons of parsley.
Yeah, I'll have it all in the video description. What we use.
I don't usually put a lot of salt in my things, as you probably noticed. So I'm putting a little pepper.
Yeah, we're going to put a little crushed red pepper to add to it. So pretty much where we got the idea for this recipe, obviously, was from Rachel Ray. She did a mini meatloaf recipe.
A long time
ago. And we decided, what the hell, why not? We said, that seems like a really good idea. Why don't we do this ourselves?
So this is, again, this is about a pound, maybe a little over a pound of chopped meat.
Yeah.
So this is about 1/4 of a cup of cheese.
Yeah, Pecorino Romano.
About another 1/4 of a cup of breadcrumbs.
Breadcrumbs, and we're actually gonna do something a little different. We're gonna add some panko. Now, what panko breadcrumbs are Japanese breadcrumbs.
They're a little crunchier.
They're a little, more coarse, as you can see.
Putting some of those in. We had our cheese, and the last is I'm going to add our eggs. Now,
we're adding 2 eggs here, but you can also add a third or water in case the mix is a little dry. So now we just got to mix it all up. And it's pretty simple, just like the old meatloaf recipe that me and my dad did back in the day. But this one, did you put red pepper? Yeah, you did.
I did.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
But this one is different because the thing about it is we're going to be frying it up in our pan here instead of baking it.
And you only need a little bit of oil in your frying pan.
Yeah, because we're using meat that's probably, like 80-20?
85%.
Yeah. And the thing about this is why this is so different is because it almost comes out like Salisbury steak, if you ever had that back when you were in school, or even like if you bought TV dinners. It kind of turns into a Salisbury steak, because what we're going to do is we're going to fry them on our pan here, and then we're going to make a gravy. One ingredient that we didn't mention was flour. You're going to need a little bit of flour or cornstarch to make the gravy. So now that my mom has made the meatloaf mixture, she's gonna pretty much break it up
like if you were gonna make a meatball, and so instead of making it round, I kind of make it like a football.
Yeah, and then you're gonna kind of flatten it out a little bit, give it more surface area so that it cooks even.
And if you like your onions thinner, or you don't like smaller, you can process them and almost make them like a paste.
Yeah.
Some people do that because they just don't like to see onions.
Yeah.
So we're just coating our pan with that oil.
With some cooking, with vegetable oil, pretty much. And so my mom usually just puts one in. just to start while she gets the other stuff going. So what we're gonna do is just kind of let these fry as my mom makes the loaves. You could probably make about, depending on how big the loaf is, you could probably make about, I'd say, a dozen on a pound.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that should be plenty. So what you want to do is just let these fry up until they get brown, and then flip them, and they cook fairly quick. So I'll be back when we gotta flip them just to show you the color that we're gonna get. But yeah, just throw them in a little.
See, and because you have very little oil in here, and usually 85%, you're gonna have a little extra fat that comes from the meat anyway. So it starts to cook up pretty quickly.
Yeah, and these take no time at all. So we'll be back when I gotta flip them.
Okay, we're flipping them. I made actually 13, and this was 1.25 pounds of chopped meat.
So this is the kind of browning you're looking for. It's probably about 5 minutes, 5-6 minutes per side. So yeah, as you can see, they're really nice and brown. You want to do this on both sides. If you make them a little thicker, you're going to want to flip them.
Cook them. Yeah, you're going to want to cook them a little longer because, of course, it's going to take longer to cook in the middle.
Yeah. And yeah, that's what you want to make sure that you cook all the way through.
So that's why I don't make them all that big.
Yeah. And so we're just going to flip these and we'll be back when they're all done, because then we got to take them out of the pan and make our gravy.
The other thing of doing these is that this is a dish that you can actually make the mixture ahead of time, form them, put them in the freezer, and then take them out during the daytime and put them in your refrigerator to thaw, and then just pop them on your skillet to cook.
Yeah. This is a good go ahead, make ahead meal kind of thing. But yeah, so pretty much that's the kind of brown that you want. About 5-6 minutes on each side. So we'll be back when we gotta take them out so we can start our gravy. Alright, been about 5-6 minutes.
Yeah, I'm gonna start to remove them.
Yep, and we're just gonna place them in a pan over here. Because what we want to do is actually keep, well, you might want to drain, depending on how much grease you got left in there, or oil or whatever. You might want to get rid of some.
Yeah, because you only need really a couple of teaspoons, maybe a couple of tablespoons.
Yeah.
I'll kind of show you how much you need.
So what we're going to do here is take that wonderful, bits on the bottom, which, by the way, I found out what's called. It's called fawn. Or foam. Not foam, but fawn. Like that. I think it's F-A-U-N or F-A, whatever. Anyways, that's what the greasy, or not the greasy, but the little brown bits at the end, at the bottom are. But yeah, as you can see, we cook these pretty good. Internally, they should be all set to go.
Okay, this here, you see there's probably about 3 tablespoons of oil. I'm going to leave that.
Yeah.
And it's got all the nice bits on the bottom.
If
and
it's got more,
onions.
then I would suggest take some out.
Yeah, you just be very careful, and you just scoop it out with a spoon.
Mm-hmm.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start adding a little bit of flour.
Yeah, your spoon's over there too.
This is all-purpose flour.
Yeah, you could also use cornstarch.
The heat is off.
Yeah, we shut off the heat. So how much would you say? Probably 3 tablespoons too, right?
This was about maybe a tablespoon. And as you can see it foams up.
Yeah.
And this is going to release all those nice little bits on the bottom.
Mm-hmm.
It's almost like deglazing.
Yeah.
And then what we're going to do is we're going to turn the heat back on.
Yep.
And I am just going to add another pinch of flour. And mix that all.
And then what you're going to want to do is not pour in all the beef stock right away.
Right, you gradually want to add it so then it you can see if it's thickening.
Yeah, 'cause like we said, we're pretty much making a gravy here.
A brown gravy. And see, look how nice it's coming.
Yeah.
Seeing all those little bits in it?
Yeah,
and
you want
then
to get all the bits.
I started it off on a high heat, but now I'm lowering it down because you don't want it to burn.
Mm-hmm.
And you can see how it's getting thick.
Let's see that again. Sorry, Mom.
Oh, we gotta wait a minute now,
Yeah.
but here.
Yeah, as you can see.
And now this is gonna start again to get thick.
Now, it really depends on how thick you want it, how much beef broth you gotta use.
This happens to be
1 can, which is how many ounces?
a 14.5 ounce can.
Yeah, you might not use it all. Depending on how much gravy you want, how thick you want it.
Or how many, how many little meatloaves you're making.
Yeah, now one thing you could do, not everyone in our house likes the gravy. So one thing you can do if everyone enjoys said gravy, you could always just add, you can add the mini meatloaves back in.
Back in, or just pour it over it.
Mm-hmm.
I usually just keep it on the side because, as Peter said, not everybody likes the gravy.
Yeah, so what we're going to do is just cook this down a little bit more, and then we'll plate it up.
And as you can see, it starts to get thick pretty fast.
Mm-hmm. And that's the flour.
Okay, here we are with our gravy.
Now we're gonna pour it over our mini meatloaves. Oh boy, does that look good! Mmm. So yeah, if you after you make this recipe for yourself, if you don't like the gravy, obviously you don't have to pour the gravy on. But yeah, there you go. Doesn't that look delicious? All right, so here's our mini meatloaves. I'll just get a little close. As you can see, I already filmed the money shot. Anyways, let's take a taste.
One of the other things I forgot to tell you is that if you want, in the gravy, you could add mushrooms. Years ago, that's what Salisbury steak would have, onions and mushrooms.
Mmm. That's good. Thing that I like a lot about it, you got this nice crunchiness. Salisbury steak's usually a little more like moussade kind of thing. And this is good. And then you get that the onion really shines in the gravy, and it's just so good. So it's been another Cooking with Kenshin1913. I have been Pete. This is
Mom.
And we'll see you next time.
Enjoy and happy eating.